episode 4 of the Immersive Talks, Immersive Podcast, and we are super excited.
Super excited because today, kind of winging from what we said last time. Last time, if you guys didn't hear it, we talked about, let's say, the potential of virtual reality and some of the thoughts that we have in our mind. Today we are doing it for. We are talking about another thing, which is buzzwords usually, which is augmented reality. So the
One of my favorites.
Potential of augmented reality and things like this.
Yes, and augmented reality, short is AR. I looked up the definition of the exact thing from Google, if that's exact at all. So augmented reality is a technology that superimposes a computer-generated image onto a user's view of the real world, thus providing a composite view. So it's not like virtual reality where you're completely immersed into an experience. Rather, it's overlaying on top of the real world, which is something that Jen likes very much as opposed to virtual reality. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on AR, Marco?
AR is a very interesting technology because I think it's more where we should look towards as the technology advances. Augmented reality really sounds and feels like a proper, better of our life, the life that we live, and the use that we can do in art is incredibly interesting. At the moment there are, I think it's mostly AR is mostly pushed by the technology itself. I don't know if there are per se a lot of artistic people in the world that necessarily uses AR in a proper artistic ways, but we can talk about different stuff.
I mean, I'm notorious for going very deep on the Instagrams, for example, and I've gone pretty deep on the augmented reality hashtag, and there are actually a lot of artists doing some interesting things. But what you said about the tools is right. It's kind of going only as far as these accessible tools are being released. So, but you see them all around. Like a lot of things on your phone are already using augmented reality. Everyone, of course, knows the famous Pokemon Go game, which was some people's first experience with AR, but there's also other things that you might not even recognize as AR, which are like they have little explainer tags. If you put your phone over like a machine or something, they already have these apps where it explains like how to use the machine. Some things at like supermarkets already have augmented reality. It's pretty much just mixing the digital with the real world. So anything that has to do with that, I consider augmented reality. And artists, I think, are on top of it.
Artists are definitely very, very important in these cases, I guess, because yes, you need specific skill sets, like for example, 3D, let's say animations or 3D modeling or this type of stuff, and probably some programming. But I think the tools are getting a little bit more accessible every day, and as you said, most people do have the tool already in their hands, and they use their phone every time. And nowadays, most of the time you need to use apps.
Well,
if they're like augmented reality apps.
Like, let's go over what we know of offhand. We know the Snapchat just came out with Lens Studio. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's another one that we didn't mention. Snapchat was like people's very first experience with AR, at least for the masses. A lot of people are using it when you put it over your face and it's putting all these filters on your face, doing the face swap, etc. So Snapchat has the Lens Studio. I think the first one that I ever played with was Artivive. Um, and then we have the Motion
The
Magic
Magic Leap.
Leap. I always get that confused. The
Mhm.
Magic Leap, which are the latest goggles that are out, which are super cool. If you guys want to go check that out. So we have those tools, and actually they're all kind of nice because you don't necessarily need programming or 3D modeling skills already. I know Artivive, for example, you can just be a regular illustrator, and then it kind of just walks you through on using the shapes and creating the stuff. Lens Studio I haven't played around with, but from what I know, you don't need to be too savvy to start getting into your AR programs, depending on what you want to do. Now, of course, if you want to make some like crazy ass effects that are going to trip people out, then yeah. But if you're just trying to make like a business card or something, I think it's pretty straightforward right now. But
Yeah, that's true. A lot of artists and galleries coming from the more traditional mediums, they're using it usually to they use their painting usually as a trigger for the AR to start and different animation to start, and they can usually look at it through their phone. Most of the time, they need to download a certain app
mm-hmm.
that manage you to do this, like RT Vive or RT Vive, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's funny because these galleries and stuff are noticing that people want interactivity, right? This is what immersive is founded on to begin with, just stepping away from these galleries and their traditional means for experiencing art. And I feel like they're finally beginning to catch on and noticing people are like, well, I don't necessarily want to come here and be quiet and not be able to discuss this piece with my friends because the curator is going to shush me or I can't touch anything. And then they're also taking notice of this whole social media craze frenzy that's like this free for all that's happening. People want to take photos, they want to take selfies, they want to share it on Instagram. So there's now this push for being web compatible. And one of the best ways for galleries to do that, I think, would be some sort of augmented reality where the gallery photos that they're showing are able to be accessed through the phone, able to be shared via social media, and I think that's kind of helping them to revive themselves a little bit, which is totally in need, in my opinion.
Not only it's interesting because not only this technology as much as VR a little bit, but AR definitely way more interesting in my opinion. Not only they're reviving, let's say, the the gallery scene, or at least starting a new movement, but I think we have thought about it in a way of street art as well, something a little bit more accessible to the everyday person. Well, not more accessible, but it's just like that everyone walks in front of a wall in the streets, but
Mm-hmm.
not as many go into a gallery for an opening.
Yeah.
um we did thought about it in the terms of street art, right?
Yeah, we considered using augmented reality in terms of street art. I know we are in contact with an artist named Boaz. I'm gonna mess up his last name, Balshalan. Um, and he's working on an AR project with the U-Bahn stations here in Berlin. Um, and he's kind of going into this idea, but just using everyday things, like you said, that people are walking by, it could be used something as easy as maps. Like maybe you want to pull out something that's um, like helps you get around the town that's easier, or you can start pushing it towards more artistic things. But it would be interesting to think of a proper AR project to do with street art. But I don't
Yeah,
think we've gone down too deep into this segue yet with
yeah.
augmented reality.
There are definitely some some hardware or like interaction problems, in my opinion. So most of the times, as we said before, um, you need to download an app, right, to do a certain AR experience, and that doesn't work. For example, is if you are talking about street art, because no one would stay there, download an app,
Mm-hmm.
and wait for it, and also having this experience. That should be something way more, um, let's say, seamless with the experience, just
Mm.
as seamless as using your phone, which is a very like easy experience that we do every day,
Yeah.
taken out of our pockets, but also like as seamless as opening our camera, you
Mm.
know. And um, I heard, I don't have direct experience, but I heard that it's possible to have AR capabilities on the browser. So using, for example, a certain, well, pretty much program it on a website.
Mm.
So um, it's kind of as easy as when you have a QR code and you take out your camera,
Yeah.
and the QR code redirects you to a website.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there could be a visual trigger that would trigger, for example, the camera to take you to a certain AR experience on the web.
Yeah.
That would be incredible. And I haven't looked into it, um, but it is definitely a thing, in my opinion, to look into it, because at that point, I think it would make sure that certain experience, for example, in street art or stuff like that, would make definitely AR more interesting on an artistic level.
Yeah. That's the only thing that's in the way with VR and AR, especially is like the interface. With the VR glasses, it's super clunky. Now with the AR glasses, they're also super clunky.
Yeah, the Magic
The
Leap.
phone, yeah, these that's the main issue, right? But you've seen some of these concept videos on YouTube about how AR is going to play out. It's like, what is the alternative? You can start building these contact lenses or programming into your glasses. I mean, there's some point where is this comfortable, and then where is it uncomfortable? Where is it seamless versus where is it like not accessible at all? And we have to determine like what we actually want. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? For now, even for me, pulling out my Instagram and making a story is too cumbersome. Like it takes too freaking long. They actually just added this lengthier story thing on my Instagram, and that's helping, but you still have to open up an app. So when the phones like iPhone did with the QR codes, when it's that easy to go into AR, that'll be interesting. I do see Apple being the company that they are, perhaps looking into this because they're always looking for easier usage and et cetera, et cetera. So either the phones will update to use AR, and that's when the boom is going to really, really happen because everyone's going to be on it, or there's going to be a new device that people are using. We always talk about voice, for example, being the next thing. And who knows, maybe you're just walking down and you can trigger an AR experience just from like talking into some stand that's on the street and be like, okay, show me a map. And then it shows you a map. So who knows? It'll live on the phone, it'll live through some other device. But until then, it's still pretty cumbersome to use, I think.
Yeah, we're definitely at the beginning of the technology and on the hardware. But let's talk about it artistically, and like the real potential of it.
Yeah.
The potential of it, in my opinion, is it's crazy. It's literally adding a new dimension to whatever your medium is in art. You know, if you're doing a painting, is already putting an extra dimension to your painting. If you're doing sculpture, is already, it already can add some new dimension to your sculpture.
Mm-hmm.
um, is whenever there's a new technology coming, there's is such a beautiful breeding ground for artists, because it manages to bring out something that it wasn't possible before, and therefore there's always some space for artistry
Yeah,
and skills.
I agree. I mean, it's super interesting to think about what AR would do to art, in comparison to what the photography did to art.
Mhm.
Because now, obviously, things like photorealism are possible. So now, what will AR make possible for traditional mediums like painting? Obviously, I don't think painting is going to die. A lot of people are saying, oh, because technology is coming up, these old traditional things are going to completely disappear. On the contrary, I think it's a very interesting contrast to have traditional media with something like augmented reality overlaying on top of it. I mean, if you just go and look on YouTube about the Magic Leap, and just watch a couple of videos and see what's possible. I mean, talk about going down a psychedelic trip. You don't need to take drugs anymore. You literally just put on these glasses and you're taking on some magical experience. It's always been my kind of dream to kind of experiment with, playing with people's brains with these sorts of experiences. Like, how far can you mess with the psyche? I know that
Mhm.
sounds kind of bad, but not pushing it in a bad way, but more towards some sort of enlightening experience. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Some magical experience for kids, for adults, for whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's the ultimate focus of art. It's kind of giving you an insight of whatever you want to give an insight
Mm,
for. You read a book and it gives you an insight of a certain life.
yeah,
You want to
exactly.
watch and experience something, and it should give you an insight to something. Definitely the idea of being a little bit more in control with whatever your art you're looking at is definitely a very interesting concept to talk about. Before we talked about a little bit on the importance of participation and interactivity, exactly because it brings out to the people something that is more raw, inside
Yeah.
their being. And I think augmented reality, in a way that we have now, or that it could be in the future, has definitely the potential to do that. And it's kind of cool because, let's say that you just have one way to interact with VR, quotes. Let's say that just your phone. Your phone is your way to interact with AR.
Mm.
It's pretty good. Like, you just have a phone. If you think about it, it's not that bad at the
Yeah,
moment.
it's pretty good, but it's not as immersive. I think that's why people are so attracted to VR. It's because you're literally completely submerged into this new world. But with something like the Magic Leap, I think it offers the same beauty of the immersive virtual reality experience, as anything. And
Mm-hmm.
it's nice because you can still interact with the real physical space that you're in, and you don't get completely like swept away into this thing. Do you,
Yeah.
what do you think are the potential, like if you could project 20 years into the future, what do you think AR is gonna be like?
AR, in my opinion, will be essential part of our life. Um, we are so connected to the internet as of it now. For example, that we look for Uber, we look for where to go, we look for what's the weather, all this little stuff. And just imagine that you get rid of the annoying thing of just taking out your phone and an app, download it, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if in 20 years we will have the hardware capabilities of just implanting something in our eyes. It will probably just
I think
be,
they're already working on it.
we probably gonna have some kind of glasses just as much as I have glasses on right now.
Yeah.
And it will be probably voice activated. Tell me the weather, think I'm out weather, or like tell me how much I have walked today, and you have the AR experience on that. And it will be super interesting if I keep thinking about street art, but I think the street art is a very interesting topic to me, because then you would have, for example, like people that would vandalize, yes, say your AR experience. For example, when you are in the streets or something, they will probably mess up with some, who knows. There's a lot of interesting stuff.
Advertisements, because that's the opposite that's going to happen. It's going to be like just as bad as it is when you're scrolling through the internet and you see like a pair of fucking trainers because you searched sneakers one time in 2005. Like, it's really bad already with the AI on Amazon sending you stuff that you think you may like. Imagine that popping up in your glasses like every 3 seconds you're walking around. So yeah, I can see it being a contrast between marketing and then street art, almost like you see in the streets today. You see graffiti and then you see billboards and you see advertisements and shit.
I wonder how it will play it out in that specific setting. I mean, it will probably play out in the same way that it's been playing out right now.
Do you think they're gonna have to be hacked though? Because I guess it depends on who's in control of like updating the software. How does an AR street artist, sounds nice, access your glasses? You know what I mean?
Well, it depends how the glasses will work. Probably if they have some kind of visual recognition type of software where only in the certain space of the publicity ad they can put an ad, then and the glasses, for example, recognize that specific point as a place to put an ad, then maybe you can play with that. I don't know, who knows, we don't know yet. And as for example, Magic Leap works now, it literally just scans the area that you're around,
it meshes it,
it creates a mesh of the area, and then it puts stuff on top.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be something similar. There's definitely a lot of interesting stuff that can come out of it. I definitely say to everyone that is out there to kind of work a little bit with AR, because I think it's definitely going to be a very important part of our future in a way or another, either commercially or artistically.
And even if you don't get into it now, you'll be forcibly integrated a couple of years down the road, because it's already here, it's definitely coming. And who knows, maybe these glasses or whatever device that AR decides to live on, because right now it's kind of up for grabs, it'll eradicate something like the cell phone. When everything's voice activated, everything's projected, your Instagram's coming up while you're driving, like, who needs a cell phone anymore?
In 20 years, you're not even driving, so don't worry. It's all automated.
True. But now they already have just one other thing about AR that's already here. They have something that can integrate into your car window. I was just watching. And it's super fun because you can have like your normal stuff, like, the weather, the stats, blah, 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 how's the road. But then you can also have games. So you can go on to your AR in your vehicle, and it projects like some sort of racing game. So you can literally do laps with yourself or your ghost thing to try and beat your time, and play like these little mini games with with cars. Like imagine the Sonic rings coins on the street and you're going around the street like collecting coins. It's going to turn into a fucking Grand Theft Auto environment pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's in a closed area, but yes.
Well, what is a closed area that a car can?
Like a circuit. But yes, that's the thing. That's what you want from your experiences anyway. I mean, you're living into a reality that has ultra HD capabilities. Um, you just augmenting it with some kind of ways.
Playing on that word, literally, if you're confused about what's going to happen, just think about how our society is today and just augment it. That's all it means. What does painting augmented look like? What are people augmented look like? What does Instagram augmented look like? Just play this little game with yourself, and who knows, maybe you can even come up with a new idea or app or something for yourself.
New business idea.
Yeah, because we're the next business people of the future. These things are going to be eradicated that are here, or unless they update. So it's up to us to jump on these new technologies and like use the fuck out of them.
Yeah, especially with this importance and with this so many people investing into it. The amount of people that are investing into AR and virtual reality is crazy.
What do you want to see in AR? I'm curious.
I want to
porn.
See. I could do porn, yes. I don't know.
We've tried virtual reality porn at the Tech Open Air conference, was it? Or was it somewhere they had it? Maybe it was Pornceptual. I don't know. But it was very strange. Virtual reality porn is not there yet, guys, for anyone who's listening.
Yeah.
The AR, maybe. She's like sitting in your bathtub waiting.
Yeah, but that's nothing, is it? I don't know. I don't know about that. That's actually an interesting thing that could put some interest into it. What do I want to see is literally an innovation, like some kind of innovation for my life. If I need to be more tidy with my space, I want that some kind of I don't know,
like a reminder.
Yeah, some kind of way to augment my capabilities to be more tidy. Yeah. I don't know, like
to augment shit that you're already doing.
Right? Yeah, and I have this interest in see where creative people with once this technology becomes way more accessible in a way that it will be, let's say, as easy as thinking about an experience and something will come up.
Yeah.
Or like I can just draw this character and then it would directly turn into a 3D model, rigged, which means that it's like can be possible to move and animate it, and that just like this,
Yeah, it would be nice to build stuff in AR. Like it would be nice to build things in augmented reality, like your modeling is just floating in the air somewhere. Instead of looking at a monitor, you're just like building these rigged characters, like you said.
Yeah,
it's cool.
That's true. Well, so many interesting things to talk about, and thank you for listening to us. Yeah. We went a little bit,
down the rabbit hole.
We'll definitely talk about more of this stuff in the future.
And IMRSV will be participating in some augmented reality projects for sure. Already thinking of some ideas on the way. You guys can send us some ideas that you have or projects that you're working on, as always.
Yeah, augmented reality or anything from whatever you're working on in the new media era. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Immersive Arts.
Yeah.
And I don't know, go have a look at our website, We are immersivearts.com.
And send us some feedback. Let us know what you want to hear. What do you want us to talk about? And where else do you want to see us? Maybe Instagram and Facebook's not enough. Do you want to start seeing some YouTube videos? Do you want to start seeing some Twitter? Let us know.
We definitely want to talk a lot about this stuff, and we definitely have a lot of things to interesting stuff, I think, in my opinion. Anyway, hope you had fun, and see you soon, guys.
Happy New Year. Peace.